Imagine a boxing match where a fighter ignores their opponent to pummel a scarecrow. It's ridiculous, but we see this daily. It's the straw man fallacy, deliberately misrepresenting an opponent's position with a weakened, fake version to easily knock it down. This maneuver breaks two foundational rules of logic. First, it fails the rebuttal criterion, because you aren't defeating the strongest version of the argument against you. Second, it violates the principle of charity, which obligates us to represent ideas fairly and accurately. To build these fake arguments, debaters typically rely on three specific techniques. They will distort the original claim, they will oversimplify a complex nuance, or they will extend the premise far beyond its original bounds. Because this fabricated target isn't the real issue, destroying it proves absolutely nothing. The actual debate remains untouched, and the whole conversation derails into meaningless noise. Let's look at how this plays out in practice. A politician proposes a moderate decrease to the national defense budget, arguing they can achieve this simply by cutting out bureaucratic waste and mismanagement. Their opponent fires back, "My colleague wants to abandon our troops in the Middle East and turn us into a second-rate military power." Trimming waste does not equate to abandoning troops. The critic distorted the premise, forcing extreme catastrophe onto a specific proposal. We see the same tactic in local debates. Imagine someone arguing that a region must build a new power plant to meet a projected surge in electrical demand over the next 10 years. Their critic responds, "So you couldn't care less if we destroy the local wildlife and displace hundreds of families to build a dam?" Identifying a logistical need for power does not mean the speaker wants to destroy the environment. The critic has drawn a completely unwarranted inference to extend the argument beyond its boundaries. Both of these tactics serve the same goal. They put the original speaker on the defensive, forcing them to spend their time denying extreme positions they never actually held in the first place. Now, let's examine a historical legal case. The Supreme Court issues a ruling that strictly prohibits public schools from endorsing or requiring a religious ceremony. Critics claimed the court banned all prayer from public schools. Pause the video. Which strawman tactic is this, and what words were left out? Oversimplification. By dropping state-sponsored and required, they turned a specific legal boundary into a blanket ban. Stripping away this crucial nuance creates an incredibly easy target for outrage, but it also paralyzes the conversation, making it impossible for society to debate the actual merits of the real law. When someone builds a straw man out of your words, your natural human instinct is to get angry. You immediately want to jump in and loudly deny the extreme claim they just made. Don't do it. The moment you start defending yourself against the misrepresentation, you are implicitly accepting their fake premise as the topic of debate. Instead, use this three-step tactical counter. First, stop the debate in its tracks. Second, summarize your actual argument for them or ask them to summarize it. Third, explicitly point out the distortion. If you need a reliable way to hit the brakes, memorize this phrase. "Is that really what you think I'm arguing?" It forces the opponent to pause, step back, and look at the gap between what you said and what they attacked. Let's review. The straw man fallacy substitutes a real argument for a fake one. Opponents do this by distorting, oversimplifying, or extending a claim. When they do, remember the central command: never defend the straw man. Identifying these misrepresentations keeps our arguments anchored to reality, forcing the discussion to remain focused on the actual truth of the matter.